This book is packed with all kinds of interesting information that I had never heard before.
This is Prophet Rawanawa B, and I just want to play a clip for you. It's about 4 minutes long, but I probably got about 30 minutes worth of commentary. But anyway, I'm gonna play this for you and get this started.
This really jumped out at me. You talk about the grotesque, really, disparity between black and white unemployment rates. The black unemployment rate is much higher than the white unemployment rate, but you say that wasn't always the case. You say black labor force participations were higher than that of whites up until about 1930. What changed?
Blacks from the South.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Notice he didn't give a starting date. He only gave an ending date. Up to 1930, unemployment rates for so-called blacks, who are really Israelites and don't know it, was lower than it was for whites. You know why? Because we were slaves. That's right in the middle of, that's right in the middle of Jim Crow. That's right after Jim Crow is just slavery by another name. That's all it is. Sharecropping and all that stuff. That stuff was nothing but slavery, y'all. In 1866, they had a chance to pass a civil rights bill, and it failed. We were still slaves. We didn't even have civil rights. So this guy on here, I forget his name, but he's a Fox commentator. And he said, what happened? I want to tell you what happened. The reason why the unemployment rate from slavery, chattel slavery, all the way to the 30s was low was because we was the most skilled labor force in the history of the world. We just came out of slavery. The stuff that we could do, Caucasian people couldn't even do. They couldn't even do the stuff that we do. Okay? So, of course, during chattel slavery, guess what? Yeah, your unemployment rate is going to be very low. You know why? Because you're a slave working for free. And during Jim Crow, it's the same thing. Right after the Civil War, guess what came up? Guess what it gave rise to? The Ku Klux Klan. So we were the most skilled group of people on the face of the earth. We were the engineers, we were the builders, we were the architects. We wasn't just shovel. We did all kinds of stuff, all kinds of planning and everything. That's what we were. So on paper, yeah, it looked like we was free. We wasn't really free. And that's why our unemployment rate was really low until the 30s. And another reason why our unemployment rate was lower than that of Caucasians, because it took time for them to learn the skills that we had. It took time. You see? It took time for them to learn all the stuff that we had been doing for centuries. And another reason why the unemployment rate for Caucasians was high is because who's going to pay somebody to do something that somebody else is doing it for basically free? Nobody. Carlson Tucker, I think that's his name. Carlson Tucker on Fox, you know, this airhead guy. And isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Israelites have never been in that situation again. So it took after slavery ended, it took Caucasian people a while to catch up with us, to the 30s, where the unemployment rate was at least equal among Israelite male and Caucasian male, heathen males. But hold on, let's keep going.
Construction workers were coming up north, and the construction companies were able to underbid the northern companies and get government contracts. And so this was meant to put a stop to that.
So just to be totally clear, up until 1930,
And that's what gave rise to the labor unions, y'all. All these slaves coming up north and underbidding. Remember, now this is a group of people that work for free. They were underbidding the construction companies in the north. You see, don't think that Caucasian people didn't have a countermeasure for that, or were scheming for a countermeasure for that. They're like, man, we got to marginalize these most skilled people because they're going to pass these trades and skills down to their children and everything. So they had to stop all of that, the skills of the parents and of the succeeding generations.
Under the Roosevelt administration, or of course, that would have been the Hoover administration, but up until that point, there were lower unemployment rates in black neighborhoods than white neighborhoods. And that has been the result, do you think, of lack of government intervention?
Not always, but in 1930, that was certainly the case. And that was not the first time that it was the case.
1866. And
yeah, the other time that it was the case is during chattel slavery. These people funny, man.
And up to about 1920s, black folk had the greatest economic achievement they've ever had in this country. Even understood.
What is greater economic achievement when you're worshiping your enemy as the Most High, white Jesus? Is it real economic achievement if you're worshiping your enemy as God? You know how quickly he could come and take your money? I mean, think about it. Think about the psychological chess play. You're worshiping your enemy as God. How is that real economic achievement? You can't hold on to anything if you're worshiping your enemy as God. And then your enemy not even the Most High. Your enemy's not even the Most High. But you worshiping as that. So I think there's a synergistic relationship between economic achievement and worshiping the Most High. And when I say that as a nation, I know the Bible says the poor shall be with you always. But he's calling this economic achievement. This is what Dr. Clark Anderson is talking about. And guess what? We worship white people. We go to church every week, worship white people. We put our money in their bank. That's another way to worship white people. I mean, the semblance of power that you have and economic achievement you have it's marginal when you're taking your money and putting it in your enemy's hands. And then you call your enemy the Most High, white Jesus. Y'all, it's a ticking time bomb.
Occur on the integration that occurred on the segregation. Those black folk had managed to acquire over 20 million acres of land according to the United States Census in 1920.
I believe that this whole thing, the vestiges of achievements that our people had during the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s and 50s, I think that was just a social experiment. I just think that it was a large-scale social experiment. I mean, you got this group of people that you've subjugated. They basically still slaves, just like we are today. And they worship you as the Most High. That's one big problem. They don't know that they are the Israelites. That's a huge problem. And then they take all their money, and guess what they do with it? They put it in your bank. Checkmate. 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 All raw materials that you need to run a nation, they have no access to it. They are consumers. Even though they have skill, it is said that from after the slavery, all the way, I think, to the 30s, that the most educated people and literate group of people on the face of the earth, bar none, was the newly freed slaves and descendants of slaves. We were the most educated. I think they said in like 30, 40 years, we have become the most educated, literate group of people on the face of the earth. So all those, the immigration policy that the United States had going on during the 20s and 30s and 40s, guess what? Those people was coming over here, couldn't even speak the language. They couldn't read. And mind you, we was the most skilled labor force in the history of the world, the hardest working labor force in the history of the world because we were slaves, uh, the most literate labor force in the history of the world, and educated. Uh, and along with that, it was some other things. We still worship white Jesus. We still, what else did we do? We still were putting our money into their financial institutions. And we didn't really create or have power over any raw materials. And we didn't know we were Israelites. With all that stuff working against you, it's no way that you can really call anything that you do true economic advancement. It's not. It's just kabuki theater. All your money is in their bank. You don't even have a car company. You're the most economically progressive group of people in the world, but you don't even have a car company. You don't have nothing where you manufacture stuff. And you even have access to the raw materials to create the products and services and distribution. You don't have that kind of stuff. You're a slave. You're a slave. So
20 million acres of land. But between 1920s and 1950s, they lost almost all of it. Back in the
So from 1866 to 1920, Israelites, who are called so-called black people, had accumulated 20 million acres of land. From 1920 to 1950, we lost all of it. Now, compound everything that I've already said by the fact that we had 20 million acres of agricultural land. Everything we had was a curse to us. 20 million acres of land was a curse to us. Most educated group of people on the face of the earth, that was a curse to us. Not because those things are cursed in and of themselves, but because of the way we were going to appropriate that, because we are not transformed by the renewing of our mind, that we may prove that which is good, acceptable, and perfect will of Yahuwah. You see, the hardest working group of people on earth, it was still a curse to us. We had tight-knit families, even that was a curse to us. We had a politic body, curse, name anything. A bus company, that was a curse. We had our own schools, that was a curse. Everything that we've done has been a curse for us. We will not turn back to the Most High. We will not turn back to our heritage.
the 1920s up to 1940s, we had black broom factories, we had black mattress factories. Almost every black.
That you hear the key word here, black broom factory. And the Most High cursed that. We don't have a black broom factory today. Black bus company. The Most High, it looks like the Most High curses. Historically, the Most High curse anything that there's black to. Black Wall Street, he put a curse, he bombed that thing. Burnt it to the ground. You would think we would have enough of that. No, but we love being black. Black power. There's no power in being black. Look what happened to Black Wall Street. You even have people that's trying to do a renaissance of Black Wall Street. Did we learn anything the first time? It's a curse. Anything with black attached to it, or African American attached to it, or any of these other nomenclatures, guess what it is? It's a curse.
Major city had at least 2 cab companies. We had black bus companies. We had black shipyard up here in Baltimore. When I say black bus lines, I'm not talking about just having 3 or 4 buses. We had over 500 buses.
If we had 5 million buses, we wouldn't have none of them today. So it was a curse. See, we wanted to be American and stuff. And I'm sure back then it was people that was talking about and knew that we were Israelites, but black people were going through so much back then with Jim Crow and slavery. Slaves were still alive then. Nobody wanted to hear nothing like that. And nobody wants you messing around with no white Jesus. Don't be tampering with no image of white Jesus that's buried in their heart. So look what happened to all that stuff that we built up in white Jesus' name. Hey, look at this, y'all. Think about this. Whenever a so-called whenever an Israelite back in those days had a business, you know who he was praying that it would be successful to, right? They gave all the glory to who? The white Jesus. Oh, I give all glory to white Jesus for giving me a successful business. The Most High just cursed it. I thank the Most High I thank white Jesus so much that I got a bus company. Most High just curse it. We don't have any bus companies today. None of the stuff. We had baseball leagues. It was baseball players praying to white Jesus that they hit home runs and have a good RBI and do good practice and prayed for strength to white Jesus that they just be the best player. And guess what? Most High cursed it too. And then they was praying for these things as black people. So you can't win, y'all. I'm not for no black politic body. Anything with black attached to it is an abomination to the Most High. When an Israelite labels himself as black, it's an abomination and a curse is tied to it. All we have to do is look at our history. Find anything that we've ever done and put black onto it, and you will see how much of a curse it is. Because whenever you say something is black, it's just common sense for you to want to gravitate towards something white.
This is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And our bus company didn't just service just the black neighborhoods. It serviced the blacks and the white neighborhoods. We had 2 black cab companies. We had the Harris Cab Company and the Campbell City Cab Company. But they used to have their own restaurants. They had the best nightclubs in the country. The blacks had 2 baseball leagues. Each baseball league had 8 teams. We had over 500 of the best baseball players in the world. But what did they do? They wanted to integrate. So as soon as they put Jackie Robinson.
You heard that? We had 2 of the best. We had 2 of the best black baseball team in the world. Black had all that stuff. Black and had. Whenever you put black onto something, it's a has-been. Even before it even is. That's why the Most High said in, I think, Malachi, he said, I will curse your blessings. Your blessings, not his blessings. Your blessings. I will curse your blessings. He didn't say I'm going to curse the blessings I give to you. He said I'm going to curse what you call a blessing. What you call a blessing, I'm going to curse it. A black baseball team, curse. A black cab company, a curse. A black church, yep, KKK gonna come and burn it to the ground. Black businesses, cursed, abomination. Black family, yeah, we're gonna kill that too. It's cursed too. We're Israelites.
on the Brooklyn Dodgers. Black folks said we'll give up all of our black baseball leagues, black teams, and all our black players, and we can just get one black boy to play on a white team.
Look at that. The so-called black people know what they got ain't worth nothing. That's why they got rid of the whole black Negro League to get Jackie Robinson to play with white people. And I want to tell you another thing. Conversely, another thing that's a curse too is when we label Caucasian people as the white people. They are heathens. The so-called white people are heathens. They're heathens. Because see, if you call them white people, you got to say that we're black people, even if you don't say it. But we are the Israelites, and they are the heathens. There's going to be a great blessing that comes with the renewing of our mind when we start changing our language, when we start changing our thoughts. When we change our thoughts, we're going to be able to change our language. We're going to be able to see the difference between the way we see people. Because a lot of our people, guess what? They are Caucasian and heathen on the inside. They're not Israel. They look like Israel. Y'all might even be brothers. But guess what? He's a heathen on the inside. Because all he wants in life is what the heathens, who we call white people, Caucasian, that's what we want. That makes you a heathen. I don't care how dark-skinned you are.
Here's your starting lineup. Leading off at right field, Leon Day.
Oddly enough, it was the black press that pushed for a more formalized, structured baseball operation.
Root. Look at that, y'all. See, it was the so-called Israelite, the Israelite intelligentsia with the newspaper, the so-called black newspaper, that was pushing that so-called Israelites join the Caucasian, the heathens baseball teams. You see, you can't trust people like Farrakhan, Michael Eric Dyson. You can't trust no Bob Johnsons or Oprah Winfrey's. You can't trust them. I look at all these people who voted for Obama, who now slam him now. Byron Allen, what is that? All these people that voted for Obama the first time, and some of them voted for him a second time. They drank the Obama Kool-Aid 2 times. They drank Obama Kool-Aid twice. Guess what, y'all? I don't have none of the education that those people have. And guess what? I didn't vote for Obama 1 time. And I'm an eligible and registered voter. I would never vote for a president. And this is before I was an Israelite. Before I knew I was an Israelite, I didn't vote for that demon. I'm voting for a demon who's got a demon pulling his strings. No. Nobody in my family voted for him. I would never vote for that demon. But our most educated people, political scientists, economic geniuses, they all voted for him. It's like, wow. So if I was in a group with those people and we was all in a room and we was drinking Kool-Aid and the Kool-Aid was voting for Obama and it was laced with strychnine, I'd be the only one alive. And I'm not the most intelligent or knowledgeable person. But I knew that, no.
Foster would become the architect of that. He was brilliant.
He's the gentleman who started.
His name is Rube Foster.
Yeah.
I don't believe Rube Foster is the architect behind. Yeah, he owned the Black Negro League, but I don't believe he's the architect behind it. I believe somebody was pulling his strings. I believe they said, hey, you sell the Black Negro League or else. They made him an offer, And they said, if you don't take the offer, we got something else for you too. And so he sold. I mean, we always doing stuff under duress and threats.
Drew Foster, without question, the greatest baseball mind this game has ever seen. He was also a very rich man.
Now, if Rude Foster was the greatest baseball mind the world has ever seen, and I'm sure that's something arguable, put a multiplier on that. Who is our greatest political mind that I have ever seen? Statesman that we've ever seen. If they had that kind of power over a guy who was over baseball, what make us think that when they're not over that type of guy who is over finances, education, technological inventions, presidential candidates? They own all our people, y'all. You know why? Because these people still think they black. That's a tip off right there to let you know you can't trust these people. They don't know that they're Israelites. They are not trustworthy. They are not trustworthy. Rude Foster sold that league because he knew his number was up. And not only that, he might have probably want to get rid of anyway. They gave him an offer and they said, hey, we'll make you rich.
When Rude Foster started the Negro Leagues in 1920, over 400,000 black folks went to those games. So this was a very thriving baseball enterprise.
Well, it broke up the Negro League in about, let's see, they got him in 46. He got called up to the majors in 47. And 56, there was no more Negro League.
The barbershop has always been a staple in black life and one of the few black-owned businesses that's...
See, black life, black-owned businesses. See, all these type of talking points is brainwashing. It just keeps the curse indelible.
Losing the Negro Leagues. Because if there's a bittersweet aspect to the overall story, it lies in the fact that you can directly parallel the rise and fall of the Negro Leagues with the rise and fall of black economy. You can directly parallel the rise and fall of the Negro Leagues with the rise and fall of black economy in this country.
The rise and fall of our economy should never have been tied to some grown men playing a game of baseball. Who else economy is tied to that? Nobody. And you wonder why these people look at us as children. Our economy, the rise and fall of our economy was based on the rise and fall of baseball? Of the Negro League? Y'all, come on. That was a curse. That's not no blessing. Nobody else economy is tied to a game.
And to a large extent, black economy never recovered from losing the Negro Leagues.
I believe that with
Here's another lie.
$3/4 of $1 trillion coming through our hands, if we summon our economy.
If we had $750 billion, which we do, we got more than that now. With $1 trillion coming through our hand, it stays in our hand like 4 hours, and that's it. It's a failure. I keep trying to tell you, because we do everything as black people. We do everything as Christians and Muslims and Buddhists and Africans and Egyptians and the Wabians and 5%ers and Garveyites and all. Stop it.
Our bankers, our entrepreneurs, our economic thinkers. We can come up with a plan to create jobs.
Didn't we have jobs before y'all in the 20s? to the 50s. Didn't we just read about that, y'all? Didn't we have jobs when our 20s, y'all? We had financial people and money people and all that kind of stuff back then, and it was a failure. And now Farrakhan wants to do this again. And he wants to do it as black people, black Muslims, and black Christians. He thinks this is brilliant. It's not. It's a failure.
And keep some of that money revolving in our community more than one time, two times, three times, four times. Then we can build institutions that speak to our needs.
Black people. Speak to our needs, Farrakhan. What is our need, Farrakhan? We can have black institutions that you see that? Black institutions that speak to our needs. That means it's already cursed then if it's gonna be labeled for black people, by black people, for black people, just like FUBU. FUBU was short-lived. You know why? Because it was for us, by us. And the implicit ramifications of that is for black people and by black people. And guess what? You don't hear nothing about no FUBU now. You don't hear nothing about no FUBU now. Most High is not going to bless anything with black on it. He's not going to bless anything that we call black economic empowerment, black politic body, black Wall Street. The Most High is not going to bless no renaissance of black Wall Street. You want to stay away from that as far as possible. Black Wall Street? Are you serious? Black Wall Street? Which is supposed to be some type of antithesis to white Wall Street, where slaves, the first thing that was sold on white Wall Street or Caucasian Wall Street was, guess what? Us. But we want to have a black Wall Street. Y'all, please, curse, curse, curse. Most High is not going to bless any resurgence or renaissance of no black Wall Street. If the Most High is going to bless anything, he's going to bless it. No, not if. The Most High is only going to bless those things as Israelites. The Bible speaks of us only as Israelites, not as black people, African American, Muslims, and Buddhists and Christians. No, it's not happening. Okay? So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all. I hope that's been a blessing to you. Y'all, all these little analysts and stuff, their worldview is jacked up. They view of the Most High is jacked up, and their view of us is jacked up. I'm talking about our own people. Show me one thing that we've ever had that we put a label black to it, and it's been very successful. For us as a nation of people. Don't say no BET. The only person that got paid off of that is Bob Johnson. And they probably gonna do the same thing to Bob Johnson that they did to O.J. Simpson and they doing to Bill Cosby. They're gonna want a pint of blood and a pound of flesh. You don't get that high and get that much money without getting your hands dirty. So anyway, this is Prophet Rawanawa B signing out. I hope this has been a blessing. Leave comments, whatever you want. And yeah, like the video if you appreciate the effort. All right, shalom.